July 2011. It was a time when the internet was believed to be safe, not because we trusted companies, but because we trusted mathematics. Everything flowing across the internet was encrypted, locked, verified, until the news broke. A company called DigiNota, whose entire job was to ensure internet security, had been hacked. The attackers didn't steal passwords. They didn't use stolen credentials. Instead, they did something so unexpected that until this moment, almost no one believed it was even possible. According to reports, over 300,000 email accounts were compromised. The attack was invisible, seamless, no alarms, no warnings, until the truth finally surfaced. When it did, browsers reacted immediately. Google blacklisted hundreds of certificates. Mozilla and Microsoft removed DigiNota from their trust stores entirely. Overnight, DigiNota went from trusted by the internet to trusted by no one. Shortly after, the company went bankrupt. And yet, that wasn't the real disaster. The real problem was already baked into the internet itself. Let's understand how secure communication on the internet actually works. To transfer data over the internet, we need to encrypt it. For that, we use encryption algorithms like symmetric encryption. We take our data, we take a secret key, we pass both into an encryption algorithm. Out comes encrypted data. This encrypted data can only be decrypted using the same secret key. So far, this sounds secure. Now imagine this. My browser encrypts data using a secret key and sends it across the internet. A hacker is connected to the same network. They can see all the traffic, every packet, every message. When the server responds, the hacker gets a copy too, but the data is encrypted, so the hacker can't read it, because to decrypt the data, my browser needs the secret key. And here's the problem. If we send the secret key over the internet, the hacker will get the key as well. And once the hacker has the key, encryption becomes useless. So this leads to a question that haunted cryptography for decades. How do two computers agree on a secret without ever sending the secret? Two researchers, Whitfield Diffie and Martin Hellman, were obsessed with this question. And in 1976, they published a paper. It proposed a radical idea: public key distribution. Today we call it RSA, but it goes by another name too: asymmetric encryption. In RSA, we don't use one key, we use two: a public key and a private key. The public key is shared with the world. Anyone can have it. Anyone can use it. The private key is different. It is never shared. It stays on the server, locked, protected. If data is encrypted using the public key, it can only be decrypted using the private key. Now let's see how this works. My browser wants to talk to a website, so the website sends its public key. My browser creates a new secret key. It encrypts that secret using the server's public key and sends it across the internet. A hacker sees everything: the public key, the encrypted data, but without the private key, the data is useless. The server decrypts the message using its private key. Now both sides share a secret without ever sending it in plain text. Researcher found having asymmetric encryption to transfer secret does not solve the whole problem. Consider, the browser asks the server, "Send me your public key." The hacker intercepts the request. The server never sees it. Instead, the hacker responds with their own public key. To the browser, it looks normal. A public key is a public key. The browser has no way to know this key came from a hacker, so the browser encrypts the secret using the hacker's public key and sends it back. The hacker decrypts it using their private key. Now the hacker knows the secret. The hacker then encrypts the same secret using the real server's public key and forwards it. The server decrypts it. Everything looks normal. The browser thinks it's talking to the server. The server thinks it's talking to the browser, but every message passes through the hacker. RSA didn't fail. Encryption didn't fail. Identity failed. So how does the browser know that a public key really belongs to the website? This is where certificate authorities come in. Authorities like Let's Encrypt or DigiNota. They also have two keys, a private key and a public key. Their public keys are already stored inside your browser in something called the Trust Store. You can see it by navigating to the security section of your browser. Now, here's what the certificate authority does. It takes the server's public key, the domain name, and some basic information. It puts all of this together and creates a hash. Then, that hash is encrypted using the CA's private key. This encrypted hash is called the digital signature. Basic info, server's public key, digital signature, and some metadata put together called as SSL certificate. Now comes the important part. When you visit a website, the server sends its certificate. Your browser already has the CA's public key. So the browser uses that public key to decrypt the digital signature. This gives the browser the original hash created by the CA. Next, the browser takes the certificate data itself and creates its own hash. Now it compares the two hashes. If the hashes match, nothing was changed, the certificate is authentic, and the public key truly belongs to that website. And here's why attackers can't break this. The CA's public key is never sent over the internet. It's already in your browser, which means there's nothing for hackers to intercept. Now, to sum it all up, even if a hacker intercepts the connection in the middle, they cannot generate a fake SSL certificate for our domain name. Because to generate a valid certificate, the attacker must prove ownership of the domain to a trusted certificate authority. And that's the key point. If a hacker tries to alter the certificate in transit, the digital signature breaks. The signature will no longer match, and the browser will immediately detect it and reject the connection. So, the certificate acts like a tamper-proof seal. It binds the domain name, the public key, and the issuer's signature into one verifiable object. And that's why, even on a hostile network, secure communication still works. Since we can trust the certificate and the data inside it, including the public key, we now know for sure that this public key truly belongs to the server we want to communicate with. So we can safely encrypt our secret and send it over the network. For a hacker to perform a man-in-the-middle attack, they would need a valid certificate containing our domain name. And that is only possible by hacking the certificate issuer itself. That's exactly what happened in the DigiNotar incident. The attackers compromised the authority, issued fake certificates for domains like Google, and silently intercepted secure traffic. And that leads us to the final truth.